What I want to go over here is a simple one recipe mix. Do it yourself. As something that I hear or get the impression of is people might think this is very complicated, or there's a lot of things that could go wrong with making your own e-liquid, and hopefully this will show just how simple it can be. You don't need complicated recipes. In this case, I'm going to use one flavor ingredient. There's tons of the see them advertised as one shots that work quite well. You can get more complicated on it, but it doesn't have to be, and you get very good results. And you get a liquid that's exactly what you want, just the right amount of PG, just the right amount of VG, nicotine, etc., as much as you want. I'm going to be mixing it by mass. You can also mix it by volume. Pros and cons to each. I think probably the main con with doing it by mass is you do have to buy yourself a scale. I think this was $30. It's just a LB 501. It's what everyone will recommend if you want to start mixing. After that, it makes life a lot easier. Other things we're going to need, obviously we're going to need a bottle to put it in. And that comes with a little dropper cap. I'll just put that over here for now. This is a disposable pipette. It's for just getting the nicotine out of the bottle because it doesn't have a dropper on it. And then of course your flavor, and it has bottles of PG and VG and little squeeze tops. It makes life a little bit easier. And then gloves. If you're mixing liquid with concentrated nicotine, you should wear gloves. I will be honest that I don't more often than not if I'm just doing a small batch, but I don't want to set a bad example, so let me go ahead and put these on. While I'm putting these on, I'll let the scale come up and calibrate itself. When you're mixing juice, there's tons of spreadsheets and apps out there that you just put in, say I want 5% flavoring, 6 milligrams nic, and my PGVG, and it'll come up and tell you how many grams. I got it written down over here. In this case, I'm doing 17 milligrams per milliliter nicotine, 5% flavor, and 40% VG because the tank I'm putting it in sort of mouth to lungish. And the blue painter's tape is just hopefully to keep my hands from going off camera. So I'll go ahead and zero that out. And I know I need 7 grams of nicotine, which is going to be around 6 milliliters. So this is a 3 milliliter pipette, the most. So I'll be putting a few of these in. And I like to do the nicotine first, so that if a bottle has something in it, I know I've added the nic. It's really more important when I'm doing multiple flavors at once. So I'll assembly line them. That way there I don't double up the nic, end up some that's too much nicotine and I end up throwing it out. That's close enough. With those disposable pipettes, just throw them away afterwards. They're very cheap. I think they cost a few cents each. Then we'll zero it out, and my PG, I need 15.8 grams. So make sure I have my PG. We'll zero it out, and we'll just add this until I have 15.8 grams. So if you just had a syringe, you could use that. So I would try to keep my cleanup to a minimum. That's why I use these, and I keep the PG in the fridge to try to thicken it up a little bit. But when I get to the VG, that VG is already thick enough. It just makes it easier to pour. There. Not quite. We went a little bit over on the neck, so I'll go ahead and go a little over there. It doesn't have to be exact. You can plug the numbers back into the spreadsheet. It'll depend on your spreadsheet and tell you what exactly you came up with. And then if it's too far out of, call it tolerance, you can figure out how to adjust it. Another thing I like is Kimtech wipes. These are just, if you've ever worked in a science lab or been in a science lab, I'm assuming universities probably live off of these things. They're just handy, also cheap. Then the flavoring, I know I need 2 grams of flavoring. So you don't want to buy too big of bottles of these. They will, as you can see, I'm sucking air back in, and I have noticed towards the end of larger bottles it will start to degrade, which I'm assuming is because it's oxidizing somewhat. I think that's a 1 ounce bottle. There we are. Zero it out again. And 20.2 grams of VG. VG's thick, heavy stuff. After you do this 3 or 4 times, you'll kind of be able to eyeball it till you get close. So you don't have to watch the scale like a hawk. When in doubt, watch the scale like a hawk, especially when adding your nicotine. Put 1 more drop in. It's really not going to make any difference. It's a little bit over, but that's okay. I like to keep tips clean. And we're done with that. Put our cap on. Give it a shake. And don't need that anymore. We're done. I have 40 milliliters of juice now. That's all there is to it. Then clean up, but using a disposable pipette. The cleanup is throw that away. Clean up any mess you've made. Obviously take your gloves off. And enjoy what you've made.